So welcome to Rise and Set Fireside Chats. This is actually a new web series that Generator Media Analytics will be putting out on a quarterly basis. And really the genesis of this series is for us to have very intimate discussions about what's going on within the industry. These are new trends that may be emerging. These are hot topics that are happening within the news. And really for us to bring in experts, not only from the outside, but also from our internal doors at Generator Media Analytics, our clients, etc. So today we are talking about ChatGPT, which many of you have probably heard within the trains today. And how does this really affect media and commerce specifically? So we've brought in some great minds, both from outside of the Generator Media Analytics team, as well as inside the Generator Media Analytics team. And I'm going to kick it off with intros to Patrick.
Hi everyone, my name is Patrick Brady. I'm the owner of Good, Better, Best, which is an LA-based e-commerce consultancy that helps clients drive e-commerce performance improvement and navigate the changing e-commerce landscape.
Erica?
And Erica Kramer with Generator Media and Analytics. I am the SVP of Communication Strategy at the agency, so help steer strategy planning and analytics that we partner with all of our great clients to work on.
And my name's Adam Wortman. I'm SVP of Innovation and Growth at the agency. So let's dive right in. So we do have some talking points that we're going to discuss today. And really, first and foremost, what the heck is ChatGPT? What is it? And why do we care about it? Is the hype even warranted? So Patrick, let's open it up with your thoughts here on just giving us a quick overview of what's going on.
Yeah, sure. So ChatGPT is a new chatbot based on artificial intelligence from a research lab called OpenAI. And it's gotten a lot of buzz recently because it's considered a step change in the ability of AI chatbots to act human-like. Basically, it's able to answer questions in human-like sentences and responses. It's been able to. They've trained it on millions of pages of information on the internet, and it can basically go and find information and answer questions. So people have been having a lot of fun with challenging it to answer their questions, and it's been coming up with some surprisingly good answers. So this is, I think, generated a lot of hype and buzz, particularly because of the fear, I think, of computers replacing humans or becoming like humans.
I mean, I've had a lot of fun playing around with it. I mean, I've had it write pieces. It's incredibly intuitive in regards to just being able to ask it something and it respond very human-like. And it's a little creepy for my taste, but I do like to nerd out over the power and the implications. So Erica, do you feel that all the hype is warranted, or the buzz? Is this something that's going to be a flash in the pan, or do you think it's something that's kind of here to stay with this kind of trend that we're seeing, especially in the short term?
Well, I think, as we've all heard, artificial intelligence has been around for quite some time, and this is a new way of it being expressed in the landscape that we live. I think there are some really new things that it's bringing to light, and just the accessibility of artificial intelligence, and just in my own life, I've seen people talking about it both on LinkedIn, in personal emails and personal communication that have nothing to do with the industry. So people are really seeing it from all different angles, and how, thinking of how it could really influence how they're living their everyday lives. So I think from an accessibility standpoint, it's really a big change for people.
It's incredible. I mean, even with these large conglomerates like Microsoft pouring, I think it was $1 billion into OpenAI just as a funding round, and then Google responding with their own AI capabilities that apparently should be dropping any day now. What are both of your opinions on the big players moving into this space? And is this move opportunistic or defensive in some cases?
Yeah, it's important to understand that, these technologies are already out there. So we're already interacting with chatbots and AIs already in everyday life, whether it's customer service chatbot, or even in Google's search engine, there's AI built into that to understand your query. So these technologies are already out there. And in fact, ChatGPT and the underlying technology was helped. Google helped develop it, and it's built upon a neural network architecture that Google developed. So, players like Google, Microsoft do have this technology. They've been hesitant to release it to the public in the way that OpenAI has, because as we've seen, there are some issues with it. It can present biased misinformation. It's wrong a lot of the time. It can only, it doesn't think. It only regurgitates what it's absorbed from the internet. And if that information is biased or wrong, ChatGPT can be wrong. So back to the point, these technologies exist and the major players have them. This has forced them to play their hand now. So they've been holding off a little bit in making these available. And yes, now they need to respond. And there's speculation that Google will, in its upcoming developer conference, release new capabilities to the world that it's kind of been keeping behind closed doors. So it'll be interesting to see what's coming up in the spring and early summer.
It's going to be extremely interesting. I feel like just computing power in general is accelerating at such a degree that we're going to start to see more and more of these types of expressions of AI that are more publicly or consumer facing or consumer interactive. So why we're talking about it today and through the lens of media and commerce is really, really interesting. And that's one of the reasons why I actually justified a fireside chat, was because there are implications, right? If you're talking about going to a chat box, right? Is that the future of Google? Is that the future of Bing? Who knows what that answer is? But when you're going into these types of interactions with a bot where you're actually having a limit on choice because you're asking it a question, it's giving you an answer, there's a less discoverability there. So I wanted us to just have a really productive conversation about this chat GPT or just chat AI in general and how the implications exist on media, where there are many more implications across other regions of our industry, content creation, etc. But from a media perspective, so Erica, what do you think, what might help us, or even something in regards to what does the future look like, where you don't have a crystal ball, but what do you think that is going to happen with all of this in regards to us as practicing marketers?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of people trying to use it and find, everyday application for it, whether it is through businesses gaining efficiencies from a content perspective, recommendation perspective, customer service. There's a whole host of opportunities to gain efficiencies there. I think it's going to be balancing a fine line, and especially as it relates to media in terms of that outward representation of those businesses and how it's reflecting on them. So I think that there is a lot of refining that's going to need to happen, and further development in this space before it becomes really a kind of omnipresent and just part of the tools in the toolbox that all e-commerce and other businesses are leveraging.
So Patrick, from the commerce or e-commerce specialty that you represent, how do you foresee this type of technology impacting the marketplaces of today, right? The Google shopping that people are consistently interacting with?
Yeah, I like to think in terms of both short-term and longer term. So in the short term, I see it enabling, customer service. So this is already enabling customer service. Many of us have probably interacted with customer service chatbots, and they're getting quite good. So this might, make that even more sophisticated, where chatbot could get really good at helping you find a product once you're on the website, or processing returns, and all those kind of things we're already doing, but sort of up a level. I think conversational commerce is an incredibly exciting area. So that's where people are transacting with brands through chat platforms, effectively like Facebook Messenger, or you see that at China, a lot of this on WeChat. So I could see that really enabling this and driving this in the US. That's not that far away. It could be enabled pretty quickly. There's already some conversational commerce happening, for example, on Snapchat here in the US. So this could really accelerate that. And then, I would say the whole creative development angle is really interesting. So there's been a lot of conversation. One of the things that ChatGPT has been getting buzz for is its ability to write essays and ads and speeches and things like that. So it's generated a lot of concern, obviously, but it could also see it as an opportunity to help write better creative, or write creative more quickly or at scale. So I could see it. This branch is a little bit into the media realm, but I could see it helping write search ads in a better way. It would also depend if the platforms, Google, Microsoft, adopted this within their dashboard so that you could use it. But even outside, you could start to use it to seed human minds on the kind of creative we could present online. And then in the longer term, I do think it'll change the search model. So going back to shopping ads, to your point, the search is becoming more visual, more voice oriented already. And if this really enables it to go all the way, you could simply ask, your whichever your chosen search engine is, what car should I buy? And ideally, it knows you so well that it really narrows down the result for you. And suddenly, instead of looking at a whole list of results, you're looking at one result. There's one ad. The bid model changes. The creative changes. So I could see that happening. And I also think it's going to open up new experiences. I'm particularly interested in the combination of AI chat with, say, deepfakes. So if you combine a deepfake with an AI chat, suddenly, your customer service rep could be Harry Styles. Maybe Harry Styles has done a deal with a brand and he's helping you pick your outfit, right? So that turns into a really interesting e-commerce experience or potential for that. So those are a couple thoughts I had on the immediate impact.
I think to that point too, to build on that, there is this area of, yes, there's a lot of advantage to take there in terms of content creation. And, that was a great example with Harry Styles. It could very much go the other way as well, where you have becoming, fraud is really become a hot topic. And, especially in the world of commerce where there's transactions happening all over the place, there could be this danger zone that people are more easily falling into. And so I think very quickly behind this development and acceleration within AI is going to be, the rules and regulations. And that's something that we're all going to have to be ready for. I think that's the reality and the other side of things. So
we're actually going into the next topic that we wanted to talk about was really what are the risks and concerns around the considerations of implementing this type of technology at a wider scale. I mean, we've talked about deep fakes, which is an opportunity to bring excitement and potential celebrity to a brand. But on that same coin, the other side of it is really this idea of fraud and when you're not doing it right, you're actually doing it very, very, very wrong. So what other risks and concerns can brands?
You just froze, Adam.
I'm still here. What types of risks and concerns can we expect for brands? I mean, even just from a financial perspective, we've been seeing digital media costs, advertising costs, go up over the course of the years. I mean, the days of sub-dollar clicks are well behind us. And now when you're talking about an ecosystem in the media space where there's only one winner, and that's basically the choice that the bot brings forward to you, is that going to further accelerate the increase in costs? Because when we're talking about the laws of economics, when the supply goes way down, your cost is going to go way up. So is that something that we can be expecting?
Yeah, I would expect as, especially as these big players become offering more artificial intelligence driven paid media opportunities, that for sure they're going to be looking for ways to monetize that. So I don't think that there is a future without that being a part of it, whether it's, Google, Microsoft. A lot of the media companies are already partnering with, whether it's, OpenAI or building their own, technology in-house to do serve a similar purpose, but everybody's kind of following that same path. And I don't think that it would be a path that people would be investing in from a technology standpoint if there wasn't an opportunity to monetize. So I would very much see that being passed along in a different way to advertisers for sure. They've already undertaken huge amounts of resources that they've invested into these, developing these platforms, and what's going to be next after this. So, the opportunities to maybe bid or the placements might change, but the dollars are going to be, the cost to do so is going to be reflective of that new opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I see the same. I see the cost going up, less placements, cost goes up, but hopefully the ROAS improves, right? So if you're paying more for a higher quality lead, right? If it's a very targeted lead, I could see this enabling better personalization. So if you're actually interacting with the chatbot, it asks you some questions back and forth. This is another, maybe short to medium term benefit of these artificial intelligence chatbots, is that it could quickly tailor the marketing communication it shows you based on capturing that data, and it could be highly tailored, right? So I would expect those ads to convert better and have higher quality prospects, right? So could see both scenarios of prices going up, becoming more competitive to get share of voice, but better conversion rates, better returns, better customer quality. I also think that it's going to create brand safety problems and privacy and security problems. I mean, we're already seeing that, to your point earlier. And so, is that going to come with additional costs, to be able to manage those, or is that going to reduce the, the inventory availability? If I'm worried that my brand is going to be presented within, misinformation, that there's already chatbots to scrutinize the chatbots. They've built chatbots to test whether the chatbots are actually saying the correct thing, right? And that's all going to come with cost. So there's that piece of it too within our industry. I think some regulation is obviously needed and is coming. It's just a question of, is that self-regulation? Is it external regulation? Is it both? But there's definitely going to be some challenges to be worked out.
There's bots on bots, apparently. That's what we're going to be expecting. Well, it's really interesting because, I mean, even just with the going into effect of CPRA this month, I think is really reinforcing those privacy rights acts, specifically in California. But that's just the start with exactly what you were talking about, Patrick. And shameless plug, we're releasing onto our blog a quick overview and implications of CPRA, so feel free to check it out. But as we start to close here, what should brands do today, right? What should we be advising our clients, our colleagues within our space to do with ChatGPT? What do we do with this information? Patrick, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it really depends on your strategy, right? So, there's a case for being an innovator, for being at the front of your category, and I think these executions are going to be very category specific. The way you interact with a chatbot for CPG is going to be very different than for financial services. So, I think that diving in and understanding it for your space can help you be a leader in this space. And I think taking advantage of maybe some of the immediate opportunities, like if for example, conversational commerce could build brand equity and relationships with some of the younger audiences in particular that already have shown they want to interact with brands that way. So you already see younger millennials, Gen Z interacting in social. They want to interact with brands through social. That's the natural environment for social commerce. So depending on your strategy, depending on your audience, depending on your appetite for innovation, I think it's a great place to dive in and start experimenting with. If you're a more conservative brand, you might want to wait a little bit and see how it plays out, right? I don't think it's going to be make or break, for the next 6 months to a year. I think there is room to watch and wait and see. So it just again depends on your strategy and your audience and your category.
Erica, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. I think having a good understanding as to how it relates and might have implications for your specific business and category is going to be a huge first step. And again, assessing the risk that you're willing to take, for a learning opportunity, for a testing opportunity. There's a lot of room to kind of dip our toe here. in the short term and without some of those restrictions that, are likely to come down the pike. So there's an opportunity here for people to get an early read on how it could help grow their business, or they could help gain additional consumer insights that could help, further the performance of other areas within their campaign. So I do think there's some short-term opportunities, but I think the greatest level of investment and the greatest opportunity is still to come as it advances and there's further development and I think parameters for using it, and then we'll see it really take off.
I agree. And from my perspective, and I think I could completely agree with both of you, I think that we're still in the infancy of this technology. While it's rearing its head from a consumer's interaction perspective, I still think it's very early. But one piece of advice that I would give to brands, and something that we do at Generator very well, is that when topics like this come forward, it's very healthy for a brand to just pause, circle the wagons with your leadership, and just have a brainstorming session, right? Talk about implications. And it's really, really interesting when you have your leaders coming together and approaching a topic from different perspectives, right? If you're talking from a sales perspective, a marketing perspective, an analytics perspective, a finance perspective, it's really, really interesting to get those brains together to approach the same topic. And this being an innovative, kind of a forward-looking technology, I think at this point, having that conservative conversation about what can our brand do today, if something, and the answer may be nothing, but I think it's very healthy for brands to have that reflection on trends in the industry and how they could potentially take part or create a strategy for potential longer term interactions. So very, very good stuff. Erica, Patrick, thank you guys very much. Very excited to see what happens with this technology. Again, thank you for everyone that is watching. Rise and Set Fireside Chats. This is the kickoff Fireside Chat. We'll be doing this quarterly, if not more frequently, depending on what the industry throws at us. So thank you all very, very much, and we hope to see you next time.